Welcome to On the Firing Line on the information station, AM 1440 KUHL. Information, education, news, and politics of firearms and ammunition is found here. If you have any questions, call us at 1-888-625-1440. That's 1-888-625-1440.
A homeowner shot a burglary suspect in the groin after catching two men trying to steal scrap metal from his property. According to authorities, deputies said the incident happened December 20th at a home in Kenmare Cove in Marshall County, Alabama. The homeowner told authorities that when he asked the two men to leave, one of them came toward him and threatened to kill him. That's when the victim told deputies he shot the suspect once in the groin with his rifle. Both suspects managed to flee the scene. Deputies were able to locate and arrest 25-year-old Paul Curtis Reed and transported him to Marshall County Jail. The injured suspect, 23-year-old Aaron Michael Lawson, was located at Huntsville Hospital getting treatment for his wound. Lawson was arrested after DNA evidence came back from something he left behind and having surgery. Both Reed and Lawson were charged with first-degree theft and criminal trespassing. The homeowner is probably hopeful he left one of the suspects without the gonads to do that again.
Wow. What a great story. You are on the firing line with Matt and Joe today. Be a part of today's show by calling in at 1-888-625-1440, or if you're in the local Santa Maria area, give us a call at 928-1440.
That's like the beginning of Spaceballs, remember?
Wow. Oh, man.
Where Rick Moranis does his thing with the ring.
Yeah, the power of the Schwartz, man.
Power of the Schwartz. Of course, I ad-libbed, the DNA part.
DNA.
Where we got that?
I'm sure DNA went everywhere, probably.
Yeah.
Help me!
I mean, a rifle to the groin?
Ooh.
A rifle?
Even if you were like 15 or 20 feet away, it'd still
15 or
be
20 feet?
murderously.
Hey, it might have only perforated the...
Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah. But hey...
The muscle.
Well, anyway.
I don't eat muscles.
As you can see, it was a good thing he had the rifle, clearly.
Yes.
The guy threatened him, hey, get out of here. No, I'm going to kill you. Okay, I'm going to shoot you in the groin with the rifle.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Here's one thing, is they're still calling the guy that shot the other guy the victim.
The victim, yeah.
I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, as you were
It's
reading it, that stuck out to me,
yeah,
too.
exactly. So, yeah, it's not like he turned the tables and the two burglars are now victims, because they're still burglars.
Yeah, they're definitely...
The victim just stood up and fought back. Heck yes.
Yes.
Hopefully he didn't fall and the gun went off or anything like that.
No, it sounds like he had it under control.
He didn't try to kill him.
Both Reed and Lawson were charged with first-degree theft.
I think
you stole my lead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's no lead in that guy's pencil anymore.
Yeah, no.
Oh, man.
Any more puns?
Huh? I don't know.
Well, those are pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good aim.
We're on the On the Firing Line comedy show.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, this will be part of the new year.
Yeah, with Jimmy Kimmel and...
They'll be here later. Just keep waiting, I promise.
Although, some of these articles we read out there are pretty comical.
Duh.
As a matter of fact, today the first part of the show is going to be about two articles that are the same article, but written from two different perspectives. First article being Police Chief Craig says what Detroit needs is more guns, written by the Huffington Post by Ashley Woods. The second article will be New Detroit Police Chief says best way to deter and lower crime rate is for good citizens to arm themselves.
Well, that's a better headline.
Yeah.
Written by Joseph R. Carducci on January 3rd, 2014 on downtrend.com.
And you can see just by the way they word those headlines that you can almost get what their agenda is.
Absolutely. That was my whole point, dude. It's a shame. So I figured we could read both articles. Hopefully some people will call up and we can discuss the differences.
Yeah.
Because
the differences are obvious, and it's the same story here, you guys, with obvious differences. So, which one would you rather hear your news from, the left or the right, or maybe neither? Maybe just the news. Just give it to me the way it is. But maybe that's also what they're saying here. So
but what is good news? Is good news just one-sided, or is it two-sided?
Good news is full of controversy, so people tune in and listen.
Yeah.
That's why this show is on the air.
That's it. That's it. We better give the numbers, guys.
Hey, give us a call.
1-800?
805?
Guys, it's not 1-800 or 805. It's 888-625-1440, or in the local Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Give us a call at On the Firing Line. Enter your chance to win.
See, that's Matt's
You might
truth
win a
card.
car.
This is the true phone number.
You might win a car, but not listening to this radio
Not
show.
listening
But
to
you
this
never
show.
know.
But
While
you
you're
might.
listening, you could.
You could.
Possibility.
You
know.
could get a free gun, but like you said, not on this
You
radio
might win
show.
free gas, but not from here.
Yeah.
Although that would be awesome if we could get a sponsor to call up, donate money for a free gun that we could give away on the show.
If you're out there,
If you're out there, get on it.
That would be great. Come see us at Tactical Guns and Gear. You can also talk to us there and become a sponsor of the show. Or if you'd like to donate something to help keep the show going, you can do that. You can talk to Matt or myself, Joe. We also have a donation box there. So if you want to go in there, make it without ever bringing your name up. Nobody knows who you are.
Yep.
Nobody knows that you're standing up for the Second Amendment. You can also drop money off in the box there. Of course, I think most people that like the Second Amendment are like, yes, I did it. I gave him money.
Can I put my name on this dollar bill?
Yeah.
I mean, this $100 bill.
Thank you very much. $100 bills only accepted. Thank you. Small print.
And you can also check out back issues of On the Firing Line on your website.
That's true. Yeah, on our Facebook page of Matt and Joe on the Firing Line, however you want to say it. And,
Yeah, those should be up any day now.
yeah,
Actually,
we'll have I think between 8 and 16 previous ventures on there that you can listen
16
to
total
whenever
when
you
they're
want.
all up. Yeah.
Yeah, 16 once they're up.
that's going to be awesome. We've got a lot of help with the web page now.
Yeah.
or actually a Facebook page.
It's a web page.
Yeah, it's it's what we used as a
Yeah,
web page.
it's good
It's
enough.
how we get out there, and it's great to get the support that we're getting from different people, all walks of life. We see all kinds of different people wanting to pour support onto this, and that's what's great. It's really nice to see that. So thank you again, everybody.
Absolutely. We give to the community gives back to us. That's awesome stuff right there. All right. I've got to read these two articles so that you guys can pick yourselves what you think is like terrible and what you think is great. And think of this. I kind of wish that we could get both of these two things together in one article. I think that would be a fantastic thing, because then maybe we'd get some truth, or we'd get to decide what the truth is for ourselves by reading the middle of the line.
Or even by reading them both, we might, we might pick up on something that's not there, or something that they're putting there that didn't really happen. Reading two things, it always brings up something.
Yeah,
very, very good point.
There might be more than two sides to this, but at least we're going to get a different perspective on two different point of views.
All right, first we're going to read the article from the Huffington Post by Ashley Woods. Gun violence isn't particular to any one city, but in Detroit, frequent shootings, lawlessness, and distrust in the police department's ability to stop crime or even show up for them have bred mistrust and fear. The city's already been unfavorably compared to the Wild West. Under a new police chief, the bankrupt city's beleaguered cops are finally driving down crime, including a 7% drop in violent crime in 2013. The police department said, but Detroit Police Chief James Craig said Detroit would be even safer if it had, wait for it, more guns. Crime rates in this motor city are still staggeringly high. Detroit recorded 333 criminal homicides last year, along with 1,161 non-fatal shootings.
Jesus.
And 14,252 violent offenses.
That's a lot of.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of gunplay going on in
You
Detroit.
ever read the
there.
LA statistics?
Oh, wait.
Well,
we're not done
we're
here.
not- we're
Check
not
this
there,
out.
brother.
The
Oh,
Motor
okay.
City logged the same number of murders as New York, despite having less than a tenth of the population.
Wow.
It could seem like what Detroit actually needs is less guns and less people using them.
Wow.
But Detroit's police chief disagrees. During a recent interview on Detroit radio station WJR's The Paul Wilson Smith Show, Post Hall Smith asked Craig whether he knew of any instances of the knockout game and a reported violent game of sucker punching strangers in Detroit. Let's see here. It says that Craig went on to say, I think, folks, that people who have engaged in that foolishness probably know that there's a number of concealed pistol license holders running around the streets in Detroit. Craig said, probably not a real good idea for these guys to be playing that game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, didn't we
And
read
I was-
that one
We've
from
seen
Detroit?
it.
The
Well,
woman?
Yeah,
we've seen
absolutely.
it now. Exactly. And she was even from Detroit. That's
She
a
was
good
from
point.
Detroit. She's 57 years old and 7 kids. Remember that? We just read it like about a month and a half ago. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
not even. Yeah, a month ago.
Yeah,
maybe.
we've been on top of this ever since the game has come out.
Unbelievable. But here we go.
Here
The
we
police
have it.
chief, who formerly served as the head of the Portland, Maine Police Department, said he believes that legal gun owners actually stop violent crime. I think it's a deterrent, he added. Good Americans with concealed pistol licenses translates into crime reduction, too. I've learned that very quickly in the state of Maine. A lot of concealed pistol license holders, host with W. Smith, laughed and replied, at the bitter end, the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun?
Boom.
Amen.
Dun, dun.
Echoing an argument made by the National Rifle Association. At a press conference Thursday, the Detroit News reported Craig reiterated his belief that arming more Detroiters would make the city safer. Maine is one of the safest places in America, he said. Clearly, suspects knew that good Americans were armed. Proponents of stricter gun control measures have refuted the idea that more guns can result in less crime. See, that's where it starts going off.
Yep.
Look right
Because
there.
we've seen it time and again. We can talk about Georgia again and how
Right.
more guns equals less crime. It
They don't
really
cite
does.
statistics.
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
do not cite any statistic. They just said
But
that
I'll
these people say.
guarantee you that they're also the people that are saying that are lumping all crime things, even police
Yes,
shootings,
yes.
everything.
Yeah, it's all
into
in
one
there.
lump sum.
Yeah, but there's no fact to it. You could lump any sum you know. Just
Well,
like
okay, that's a point.
do you know
That's
what? Do you
true.
know what they used to say that Super Bowl Sunday was the most that women were beaten by their husbands. Do you know that? Which is a total false
They just
thing.
made that one up?
They made it up.
Because
now-
50% of the people lost their game that day and were really angry.
and it's not true. It's not even close to be true. The statistic.
I'm not even going there.
Yeah, but I mean, anybody can make up a statistic like that.
No, you're
Just say
absolutely
it.
right.
And they
Yeah.
just said
No,
it.
it's-
It's unfair it's unfair to us, right?
Okay, I'm going to make up a statistic.
I know that was hard for me to get that one out too.
Stats.
Did you know that Super Bowl day is the day that most men get beat up by their wives? All right.
Yes, on with show.
Proponents of stricter gun control measures have refuted the idea that more guns can result in less crime. A peer-reviewed study published in November that studied gun ownership in all 50 states over 29 years found that higher rates of gun ownership had homicides. Although Craig supports having more legal gun owners, he has also emphasized confiscating illegal guns. On Thursday, he said that in Detroit, each time they take an illegal gun off the street, they've likely prevented a robbery or shooting down the line. He also supports banning assault weapons, regulating magazines and ammunition, and enforcing tighter background checks at gun shows. According to the Detroit News, Wayne County, where the city of Detroit is located, had approximately nearly 80,000 total concealed carry permits as of last month.
Okay, so here we have a sheriff who's saying more guns in the hands of good citizens is a good thing. Then, go down a little bit, and same guy banning assault weapons, regulating magazines and ammunition, and enforcing tighter background checks at gun shows.
Well, I like how the fact that the Huffington Post is bashing him. It's like, well,
Yeah.
you know, you're going to put more guns on, but yet you're saying you're going to take guns away. And look at these statistics to show you're just a crackpot. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and random stats too. It's nothing in stone. That was a weird one to me. That one was a little bit weird. I'm
You
gonna
can
have to say.
guarantee that the WJR's, the Paul W. Smith show, was a hack against the guy for echoing the he echoed the NRA.
Yeah,
and you know
yeah.
that was
Oh, yeah,
that was sarcastic all the way down the line.
He did, and just throw that in. Useless tidbit of information. I've actually been to WJR radio station in Detroit.
You've been to Detroit?
Excellent.
A couple times, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was just
I
gonna
mean,
say
it's a
that. That's too bad.
beautiful place. I'd love to travel there again.
Think of this: over 1 million people used to live there, and now it's down to 300,000.
Yeah,
It's 1/10
1.5
of New York now. That is
1.5 million people lived there in 1959.
And now it's down to
It was 700
300,000.
Well, it's
Are you
740
serious?
No,
It's that
740.
low?
I just
So-
looked it up.
but-
It's 740,000.
740,000.
Yeah,
half
740,000
the city's
in the cities.
kaput.
Yeah. But what
Wow.
happened? It's called the white flight or whatever you want to call
Oh, no,
it.
I know, yeah.
You know, they split and they just build out in the outer portions of the city.
Yeah, they go out to Birmingham and other
Right,
spots
exactly.
that are
Right.
quote unquote nicer.
Wow.
More, better
Well,
schools, better places,
Where
more
they can
snow.
carry a
but-
gun, probably.
Probably, yeah.
I'd just
You know,
talking
in
about
New York,
money.
Well, they
Remember
got
I-
the money to carry guns over in those parts
Remember
of
I
the
said in
suburbs.
New York they had
Wow.
6 days of a non-homicide that's never happened before, and then somebody called me up, or somebody called up here, right, and said, yeah, but I'd like to know if it was snowing or raining during those
Yes,
times.
I remember that.
That's
And you know what?
yeah.
The guy turned out to be right, because there was a few days in there where they were snowed in.
And people couldn't even go
They
out.
couldn't go out,
so
right,
if you can't go out, you're probably
Wait,
not gonna
that's
be
a
able
great
to.
statistic
That's
for
why
us
we
to
throw-
say that crime
well,
has
see,
gone down.
That's a good reason to throw people in jail. If
You know,
they can't
they
go
see-
out, they can't kill people.
Did you see the sighting? Yeah. Did you see this?
Well, at least you don't know about it until the police get there.
Yeah. Well,
Even in this
ignorance is
article,
bliss,
though,
dude.
Joe, did you see they use a peer review study?
Yes.
Yeah,
in other words, they took a survey of people that are supposed to be peers of something,
Right.
right? They review things.
I wonder if it was the Brady campaign.
And check this out. The
who was
peer reviewed study was that higher rates of gun ownerships is higher rates of homicides.
But you made the point of that.
I mean,
Gun
God.
ownership also police own guns, so they would be involved.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
so the
Pull over
military own
somebody and they
guns.
have a gun and they have to run it. Well, guess what? That goes down as a statistic
Like
as a
a
crime.
gun-related crime, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can always work
I
it
got
to
to
your
keep going
advantage.
here.
Yes, we must.
We got to take a break here pretty soon.
You know
wanna
what?
wait?
We could take a quick break and then come back and hit the next article. And hopefully we'll get some calls here so people can tell us how they like the next article or don't like the next article versus the one we just read.
Yep.
Same article, but written by somebody else in a whole different mindset. We'll be right back with you on the firing line.
We'll be back to more of On the Firing Line with Joe and Jim after this.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We will be right back with you on the firing line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on am1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies and stuff.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol classes and have trained thousands of local
The
ladies.
store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years.
Now a great word from Santa Maria Motorcycles, formerly Santa Maria Harley-Davidson, located at 2022 Presker Lane. They are dealers for Honda, Kawasaki, and Harley-Davidson. Grab your family and go see the museum, filled with exciting older bikes that you won't see anywhere else on the Central Coast. As well, they are the #1 motorcycle dealer on the Central Coast with the largest inventory around. Go in and see Martin Buchanan, or you can give him a call at 805-928-3668. You can also go visit them every first Thursday of the month for Bike Night. Starts at 6 p.m. Have a great time with your family at Santa Maria Motorcycles.
We're happy to have a special guest here today at the Plumbing Talk Studios, Jeremy Griffin, owner of Griffin Plumbing in Orcutt. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Jeremy, the reason your plumbing company is called Griffin Plumbing is that your last name is, in fact, Griffin.
Yeah, that's right.
Unbelievable! Griffin, just like the legendary creature with the body of a lion and the wings of an eagle.
Yeah.
What a brilliant move, Jeremy.
I'm a genius.
To name your plumbing company after this majestic creature. A creature known not only to have divine power, but also to be a protector from all things evil.
Well, it is my last name.
Audience, listen carefully. If your plumbing devices are threatened in any way, I implore you to seek the power and protection of the Griffin.
We're always here to help. Just give us a call.
Call the Griffin.
Find us at callgriffinplumbing.com or call 934-1949.
You are on the firing line with Matt, Jim, and Joe today.
Be a part of today's show by calling in at 1-888-625-1440. Or if you're in the Santa Maria area, give us a call at 928-1440.
And of course, don't forget to check us out on Facebook on the Firing Line with Matt and Joe.
That's right, you are back on the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Be a part of today's show by calling 1-888-625-1440, or if you're in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. All right, so we're going to get into a second article of the same article written by different people, and it'll just kind of show the objectiveness, of this whole thing here.
You know, I kind of like this second article a little bit more. I believe it comes from more of a common sense look at the situation, and I like how the author shows the whys and what for, you know, as part of conveying this message that he's putting out here. Because that's just it. When you're writing something, you can't just go by feelies and touchy-feely things.
You gotta have facts. It's hard, stone cold facts. And when I'm reading an article, I would rather know the whys and the what for.
Right. And even if you don't have the actual facts, as long as you've got a pretty good idea of what's really going on, so that if somebody was to go there, they could see and identify with it.
Yep.
I think there's some truth to it there.
Yeah, you should be factual, though.
Yes.
You know, as close as you at least find the facts, and if you can't, don't say it. You know.
All right. Well, here goes.
Like peer group.
New Detroit police chief says best way to deter and lower crime rate is for good citizens to arm themselves, which is what the whole article should have been about in the first place. By Joseph R. Carducci in January 3rd of 2014 from downtrend.com.
Ooh, wow. Hot off the press.
Hot off the press.
Very hot. As you probably already know, Detroit is a city with a lot of problems. Its economy has dried up after years of mismanagement and criminal plundering at the hands of its liberal leaders. Okay, a little biased, but I like it.
Really?
A once proud city with over 1 million residents, Detroit's population has dropped to around 300,000.
Wow.
Its crime rate has risen to an almost unprecedented level in the last few years. Fortunately, the city's new police chief, who took office last summer, seems intent on changing things for the better. Chief James Craig is already making waves. He recognized that the police force, which has dramatically improved the clearance rate in murder cases, it's also led to a nearly 14% drop in the murder rate in 2013, which had reached a 2-decade high the previous year. But the most unusual thing about Chief Craig is that he is actually telling people that if they want to remain safe and see crime rates drop faster, they should arm themselves.
Yeah.
Police chiefs of urban areas are usually either against guns outright or reluctant to speak on the subject, but not Chief Craig. On Thursday, he said that if more citizens were armed, criminals would think twice about attacking them. He was very candid, saying that when we look at the good community members who have concealed weapons permits, the likelihood they'll shoot is based on a lack of confidence in the police department. He said that thanks to a 7% drop in violent crime, he thinks more people feel safer now. It is also interesting that the Chief Craig has not always had this opinion. He obviously or previously served in Los Angeles, where it's extraordinary difficult to receive a concealed carry permit. While in LA, Chief Craig felt that disarmament was the effective answer for lowering crimes. And then in 2009, he became police chief in the gun-friendly city of Portland, Maine. With Maine being one of the safest places in the country, his views were challenged and changed. This made him think that if criminals knew potential victims might be armed, they would think twice about committing a crime. This is not the first time Chief Craig has suggested that Detroit citizens consider arming themselves. 2 weeks ago, he told a local radio show that responsibly armed citizens are a deterrent to crime. Detroit is clearly a city which could use an effective deterrent, seeing now how they have as many homeless as New York City, but with only 1/10 the population. As a comparison, Chicago only had 29 more murders than Detroit, despite having nearly 4 times its population. There have been a number of studies about homicides and gun control. Quinnipiac University Economics show that the state has more restrictions on firearm ownership and carry permits have higher murder rates than more gun-friendly states. Increasing restrictions has been shown to increase murder rates, not reduce them. Even the Liberals' current fixation, assault weapons ban, have shown no effect on murder rates. Hopefully more police chiefs will follow Craig's lead and come to their senses. What do you think? Is it an interesting to have someone running for the police department who is in favor of more gun ownership? Can Detroit's example be repeated in other cities? Okay, this article was written completely different.
Yeah.
One of the things, though, I just don't get it now. I seen it displayed. 750,000 people live in, which considered Detroit.
Detroit proper.
Okay, because I'd like that number a lot more than I like nearly 300,000. Because if you look at that, if 333 people were murdered last year, folks, that's 11% of their population
That's a
was
good point.
murdered.
That's
I don't think so. I think the numbers, something's wrong. I mean, maybe that number's correct, but I think the other population, the other thing it is, if they do only have 300,000, I got news from them. New York City is the most populated city in America. It has 12.1 million people in it. That's not 10%.
No.
Oh,
so
no,
that's 3% or less than
Yeah,
3%.
yeah, way low.
But the murder rate is pretty high.
well, it's a guaranteed fact.
Uh-huh. But the way you live in New York, though, let's look at people compare New York. You ever been to Jacksonville, Florida? It's
No.
the largest city landmass that there is. I've been there a couple of times. It's humongous. You could fit 12 million people there and have no problem.
Okay.
But you look at the island of New York, and you got 12 million people on that.
Yeah, all they can do is build up.
Right. So that really, unless you live in a very congested part of that building thing, you know what I'm saying? You basically know everybody you live with. I mean, basically
Right.
you know the whole. So the murder
Yeah.
rate in that. Now, if you say if Santa Maria's got 100 and nearly 10,000 people in it, so we are 1/3, according to this article, 1/3 of the population of
Detroit.
Now you're talking, okay, now I get more of an understanding what people are really trying to say. When you're trying to compare it to New York, that statistic for murder, that's high, baby.
So what you're saying is
11%?
in this second article that we've read, the discrepancy that you don't like is the count of number of people that are actually living there.
Living
Yeah,
there, and the reference of they're 1/10 the population. That's even if they're 750,000, they're not 1/10 of 12 million, unless they didn't go to school to collect math. I don't know. I mean, learn math.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay,
Yeah,
I can see where your point is on that. But
I think they would pick a better city, and then we would get a better understanding too.
also, but I do see that in the overall point of this article, I like it better than the first article.
Absolutely,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I like
He's
the
right.
fact. Yeah, I like the
He's
fact
right.
that he's making a simple point, and also when he goes down and he shows the same statistics that these other guys are trying to show, he actually pulls from an actual place where you
I
can
know.
call a fact, which actually makes a lot of sense.
Right. Yeah.
And he doesn't
What's-
make that reference either of assault weapons and restricted.
Right.
Yeah, he
Right.
also doesn't
Yeah.
make that reference either. And we don't know whether or not, now we don't really know whether or not that reference was even made because it was not made on that radio show.
That's true.
Gotcha.
So, and he stuck to the radio show, which is good.
What's your opinion out there? Give us a call, you guys.
Yes.
We want to hear from you. We want to know which article do you like. Help us figure out which one's right, which one's not. I personally have a preformed opinion now, but you might be able to change my mind. How about? I mean, what about you guys?
I'm going with the second one. That's just the.
Me too.
As
agree.
you were reading that there, and as I was reading it and listening, I felt myself agreeing more with the second article than I did with the first one from Huffington. And it just seemed like Huffington had a little bit more smoke and mirrors going on.
Yep. Give us a call at 888-625-1440. Or if you're in the Santa Maria area, please give us a call at 928-1440. We would really like to hear from you, hear your opinion on this subject.
Yep.
This is the subject we're looking for some
Here's
comment
what I
on.
wanted to say about that one thing. The article talks about what he said on the radio, and so we're all concentrating on the radio. And then all of a sudden, towards the end of the Huffington Post by Ashley Woods says he also supports banning assault weapons regulation.
Yeah, also.
But it doesn't state where he said that or what happened.
Well, no, it doesn't have to. It's because he also supports it.
Yeah,
It's
well,
just a
that's what I'm
side note.
saying.
And by the way, he also supports it.
And also to what?
Yeah, where was the statement made? How do we know?
No, I get what you're saying.
I like his because he stuck just to the facts of what he said on the radio show and who he really
Right.
did. And he had all the things that's burying the truth.
Get
So you
the
kinda-
facts, Jack.
Yeah.
Just the facts.
Had he
facts,
not
man,
messed
just
up on the actual occupancy of the city.
Yeah.
Well, you think about it. If Detroit, let's just use the numbers that we've heard so far.
12 and 3.
333 people murdered.
Yep.
Okay. 1,161 non-fatal shootings
Right.
in a city that's only 3 times the size of Santa Maria. And let's get this in real perspective. Santa Maria, if you include Orchid and the whole thing, we got over 190,000 people in this area.
Right.
So you're talking about just
2/3 of Detroit.
Exactly.
2/3 the size.
And we only had 8 murders last year, right? In 2012
So
we had 8.
yeah, okay. In that comparison, it is a drastically huge number.
Yes.
Okay,
Definitely.
I see exactly what you're
Now
saying.
we got
And
an
think about
idea.
this.
Yeah.
Santa Maria was actually voted as one of the worst places, in California, to live violent.
Most violent places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the top 10 violent places, and the top 10 for unwed children to have babies.
See, unbelievable.
So we got our statistics.
All right,
too.
I'm really hoping somebody calls here and helps share their opinion on this. Do they believe in it? And do they? I just wonder if this is something that is. I always see these articles.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm always seeing different sides of it.
Yep.
It's not like I just read from one source and stuff like that.
Which is good because just think, and there's so many people that get their newspaper delivered or something, and that's the only news they get year
Right.
in and year out.
So it's lopsided all the way.
I mean,
Kanani, call Ray back. We lost you. We had a little technical difficulty to get you back on the air. So
Kanani, give us a call.
Give us a call right back.
We want your call, Kanani.
yeah, don't be scared. But yeah, it's just like we were saying that if somebody has their newspaper subscription and that's what they're getting, and this is the type of stuff they're reading from the Post, and they read something, say, while they're at a friend's house from another newspaper, they're going to go, "What is this? This is not what I've read. This isn't the truth." Well, it's
That's
objective
right.
opinions. You have to realize that it's all an opinion.
This is the thing that sways us here in California to
Yeah,
where we can't even get fair voting going on because so many people, they read the Chronicles or all these different newspapers that are out there that are so liberal, they're not getting the other side. They're not getting a fair and balanced
Right.
view of things to be able to make a true informed choice.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, I have all the news on the left side. Give me something on the right so I can balance the
Yep.
two out,
We have a caller online?
yes, it's Dan. He's on line 1.
Dan, welcome to On the Firing Line. Are you there?
Dan's not here, man.
Dan. No, Dave's not here, man. Oh, we lost him. This is not good.
All right. Well, you guys are attempting. It's my fault. I keep hanging up on you. Sorry.
No, it's mine.
No, what's
okay.
going on?
All right, well, we can
no,
join
what's
in the
actually
blame.
going on, folks.
Oh, we got
There we go. Okay.
We got Christmas trees now, ladies and gents.
I've never seen so many lines light up at once.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, looks like
Looks like any
bring
second.
them both on.
Yeah, we'll have a little rap battle.
That'd be kind of cool. We'll have both people on at the same time and see if we can't get a discussion going here. We have Dan on line 1. Huh, Danny? Oh, Kanani, welcome back.
Hey guys, what's up?
What's happening?
Yay, we solved the phone issue.
Yeah, I know you guys hung up on me. What's the deal?
Yeah, that was my fault. Sorry.
That's all love.
No. What? No. It's nobody's fault. What happens is we got a little technical difficulty, and I fixed it. That's all. No, it's serious. I'm serious.
So, what do you think about this?
Well, we read this before John and I did, before the show started. We went through all of them. And at first, I kind of thought that the second article was, way better. But after we started to discuss it a bit more, it seemed like because I agreed with the second article, that's why I kind of thought it was better.
Right.
So we went back and kind of looked at what the point of each of them are. And it doesn't seem like either of them are any better than the other. Like, they're both on the two sides of one being anti-gun and one being pro-gun.
Got it. So
Interesting.
It's almost like picking the lesser of two evils when these type of articles are in front of us. And we see that time and time again. And you're totally right, because that's the same feeling I got, is that the second one was more in line the way I thought I was thinking. So that's the one that I sided with right off the bat. Also, with what you're saying, they both have a pretty ridiculous aim with it.
And that's kind of what I wrote. I mean, I still like the second one better.
Yes.
But it's kind of what I wrote. If you read the paragraph that I had put in there on the Facebook, where it's like they're both written from the passion of the heart from both people.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have to be able to take a look at that and try to find the truth in it. And that's why I would rather have seen. Can you imagine if it was a collaboration between these two authors and they wrote the article? Then maybe we get two of the both passions in one article, and we could choose for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. First thing this morning, which we posted up on the Facebook page, the Fox article actually had a really even kind of balance between the two. It sort of gave the facts.
Right.
This is what the guy said, and here's what he had in the past. So if you want to know more, you can just go to Detroit News and click at the bottom of the page and see the rest of it. So, I mean, I'd prefer to hear, or to at least read in the news, less commentary and the personal beliefs of those authors, just the way I'd have a chance to go, oh, okay, that's what the facts is, so what do I really think?
Right. Yeah, I agree with you totally. I mean, because if we want somebody's opinion, we can either ask the person we're sitting next to you or next person that we walk across. So, but getting a definitive answer, that's kind of the reason that we seek out news media and outlets like that, just to get an actual answer, not another opinion, which unfortunately there's a lot of opinions these days.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Of course, though, that's what makes the circus go round.
That circus that we are. Yes.
Awesome. It's still... For me, the thing that gets me and why I really wanted to bring this up is because here in California, I feel like we don't really get the facts too much. More so, we get this one-sided, touchy-feely ideal, kind of like what the first article was, and that's what the public sway, the public emotion runs upon, because that's all that's ever presented to them. Mm-hmm. And if you run out to the sides, where if you go to these different sites, everybody says, "Oh my God, it's." Dare I use the term tinfoil hat people, because they're believing in all these different ideals and stuff that are just blown out of proportion, but yet some of it's truth and a lot of it's hype, but you still, I don't know. It's like, where do we get the other side? Where do we get all the facts? Fox does a pretty good job, but even them, I've heard them tell stories that were very biased as well in things.
Well, I think, everything you have to have the old grain of salt right there next to you as you read all news nowadays.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yes, if you find 2, 3, or 4 different ones all in the same article, then you might find one or two sentences that are true.
If you live in an area that's saturated, how can you fairly go out and get information that's going to bring the truth around
on them interwebs, man? You can't saturate them interwebs.
Well, I think that people have to want to know what else is out there versus taking the easy route of just believing whatever they hear.
Yeah, and that is probably the tendency to most of the sheeple, is to, I heard it, so that's what I'm listening to, and now I'm going to go out and chant it because I heard it. That's why.
And not that they heard what they want to hear and they like it, and it's like their flavor of the month or their flavor what they want to hear. Yeah, that's true. I don't think anybody nowadays, it seemed like years ago, it seemed like people wanted to be more informed.
Yes.
They read a couple of different things. They took a couple of opinions. Now it just seems like I'm a D, so I vote D. I'm an R, so I vote R. I mean,
which is unfortunate.
You don't
ignorance
listen to
is bliss.
Anything. Yeah, right. That's they're on my side, so that's why I deal with things. Yeah, Kanani's got a good point about that.
Awesome, Kanani. Thank you so much for calling up and giving your opinion on that, because we really appreciate that. We do need to jump into a break, and you're more than welcome to stay on with the show for the rest of the show with us if you want, or whatever you'd like to do.
Let me. I haven't actually read the rest of the Obama show notes that you guys have listed there, so I'll call back.
All right, sounds great.
What's going on? All
you
right,
got it.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Have a great weekend if we don't talk to you. All right, we're going to stop, take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to hit this last article that I have here. Yep. Actually, I got 2, but this will do it. Obama administration proposes new executive actions on background checks.
He likes using those executive actions, don't he?
Oh, my God. Let me rule from the, of my pants.
I rule from my throne. Duh.
Yes.
All right.
You try to usurp me. I will usurp you. Be right back with you on the firing line.
You're listening to On the Firing Line on the Information Station.
This is On the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. We will be right back with you on the firing line. If you have any questions, give us a call at 888-625-1440 or in the Santa Maria area, 928-1440. Don't forget, you can always listen in on am1440.com.
Tactical Guns and Gear is the Central Coast leader in tactical rifles, pistols, shotguns, and accessories. Building an AR-15, they have lower receivers, parts kits, trigger groups, and a ton of other AR parts from the most popular companies and stuff.
They are also the home of the Women's 101 Firearms and Women's Advanced Pistol Classes and have trained thousands of local ladies.
The store is located off the 101 freeway in Santa Maria near the North Broadway exit. Look for the big rifle sign on the freeway as well as the giant 5-ton Tactical military truck, and they're now open on Mondays. America!
On the Firing Line is happy to have Law Offices of Christopher Coleman as a sponsor. The Law Offices of Christopher Coleman is located in Santa Barbara on 2019B State Street, specializing in personal injury and, more importantly, the Second Amendment and On the Firing Line with Matt and Joe. Give them a call at 805-682-3352, serving the Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and San Luis Obispo areas for over 25 years.
On the air with the Midnight Mystic is one of our regular callers, truck driver Charlie.
Well, I just seen another one, Midnight Mystic.
Another Griffin, Charlie?
I'm telling you, they're all over the Central Coast now.
How long have you been on the road now, Charlie?
2, 5, 8 weeks, I don't know.
Perhaps you should park the truck and get some sleep, and maybe the Griffins will disappear.
Well, there it is again. I'm going after it.
What does it look like, Charlie?
Holy mackerel. It's got the body of a lion and the head of an eagle.
Is it flying, Charlie?
It's on the side of a white truck.
Is it a Griffin plumbing truck, Charlie?
Could be. I don't know. I'm pulling right up to it.
We seem to have lost contact with Charlie, but I'm sure he'll be okay because Griffins, just like the good folks at Griffin Plumbing, are here to protect and serve. In fact, if your plumbing devices are threatened in any way,
call the Griffin.
Find us at callgriffinplumbing.com or call 934-1949.
You are on the Firing Line with Matt, Jim, and Joe. Be a part of today's show by calling in at 1-888-625-1440. Or, if you're in the local Santa Maria area, please give us a call at 928-1440. That's right. You are back on the Firing Line with Matt and Joe on this beautiful Saturday, January 4th. Anyway, we have we've been getting into some good articles, I think, today, and I think Joe has a new one for us here about Mr. President and his executive actions on the gun background checks.
He's signed in 2 more things that they're working on, and it's to work with getting mental institutions and information from mental institutions or psychiatrists into the NCIS check, which is the background check that most states use to see if you have anything that would bar you from having a firearm. They're saying that if you voluntarily go to seek help, it's not going to bar you from getting a firearm. But if you voluntarily turn yourself in for a mental institution or you are forcibly submitted, you're going to be stuck. You won't be able to own a firearm.
Yep.
And here's another thing is if you make threats and different things, the people that are going to get to make these decisions are going to be doctors. Doctors are going to have the final say-so of if you're a nutcase or not off of just a preliminary visit, which is in no way possible for a human to necessarily be able to do that unless you are truly a nut bloody case.
Right, yeah. If you're crazy, then yes. But most people can't get a good synopsis of a person's condition in a 1-hour meeting, you know.
And what's to stop these doctors from getting together and having meetings and determining, well, let's say this now makes a person crazy.
Right, or who's to say somebody doesn't come in with the proverbial briefcase full of cash and say, if these guys are crazy, you know, maybe you guys can find a briefcase like this in your car. I mean,
that's possible.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, with all the agendas and stuff, there's a lot of money flying around out there.
That's true.
You know, that's all I'm sure. You know,
I could see something like that going on. It's slim to none, but it's very possible.
Right.
How long do these things last? Because they're just an executive order. They're not.
How long do executive orders last?
Well, I always believe it's only 1 year, or if the legislation does take it up, or the Congress. In other words, if the Senate, there's more Republican senators than Democratic senators, they just say, nope, you ain't doing it, and they just say it ain't happening, and they write it out. I mean, executive orders can only last so long. You can only have an executive order for so long.
Yeah.
Because they're only made by that president
right.
only, too. and it can be. We have 3 branches of government, you know.
Well, are you sure about that?
Well, I don't know, but he
don't
thinks there's only
usurp
one.
the power of the president. Come on.
Well, that's what he did.
I think that was a truth dart you threw out last commercial or before
But I
last
was wondering,
commercial.
how long are they? I thought they were only supposed to last like a year.
I don't
know
know.
that they can't go into the next term. That's all
Absolutely.
I know. That's all I know.
The president, I know, that's it. Once he's not president anymore, it doesn't happen.
Yep.
Because that's what they do.
Since they dropped the nuke, though, it's pretty mute because if they have control of the House, whatever the president says is pretty much going down the path.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he ain't getting anything passed because of Obamacare. There's no way this Congress is ever going to pass anything for him. So.
I'm
unless it's
poor
milk
guy.
for poor babies. I mean, that's probably the only thing he'll get passed.
You know, Harry Reid.
Who?
Harry Reid.
Who?
Reid. Rod. Reid.
I don't
Harry
know.
Reid.
You mean that guy from Las Vegas?
The guy that really took away the way it's supposed to work with all the voting and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know?
the filibuster. You mean he took away the rules for filibustering? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, that's only lasts until they're in Congress. So that's only going to last. I mean, till the Senate, because they run the Senate.
Right.
So they can run the rules. You know that, right?
Right.
Okay.
So once they're voted out,
it's gone.
They'd have to vote for it to happen, though.
Huh?
They'd have to take another vote.
No, they just make it. The actual how the Senate works like that is the actual pro tem of the Senate, who's ever has the most votes in the Senate.
Okay.
And who's the majority leader in the Senate can write things like that, but they only last during the because it's like, okay, we're going to set up some House rules.
So it'll go
If
right
you can
back
play
to
baseball.
the original rules.
Or it'll go back to whatever they change.
I've got an article here that's saying that may not be necessarily the case.
Well, let's hear it.
I don't know that we have enough time. 10 minutes is not enough time.
Oh, there's time. There's Vader time.
There's Vader time. Let me see if I can find. Matt,
You're
go
talking
ahead.
about the prospects for a Second Amendment?
Yes.
Yeah, that were as a result of Harry Reid's innovation of the nuclear option?
Yes.
Yeah. This is what I was
The
talking
Senate
about.
now has no rules.
Boom.
Sure, Reid claims that little fraud scheme doesn't apply to legislation or to Supreme Court nominees, but once you make fraud the coin of the realm, you're no longer in any position to say that only acceptable fraud is the type of fraud or the type of fraud. When a Supreme Court vacancy comes up, it will be decided, if necessary, by a majority vote. And if that nominee is to replace swing vote Anthony Kennedy, the pro-Second Amendment Heller and McDonald cases will be reversed, and at least as far as the courts are concerned, the Second Amendment will be read out of the Constitution. So the central objective 2014 will be to ensure that the Dirty Harry Reid is no longer a Senate Majority Leader after the beginning of 2015. In other words, we need to vote him out, or the people of Nevada do. We believe that 2014 will be a tsunami year for Republicans as a result of the waves of catastrophic news which we predicted from the anti-gun Obamacare law. Plus, the president will fall far short of his target of enrolling 7 million people because young folks are not being successfully suckered into buying overpriced insurance, which does nothing, I repeat, nothing, to subsidize wealthier people's health care. As many as 80 to 100 million people may lose their health insurance as the employer mandate kicks in. Millions more will lose their jobs, and a large swath of the middle class will end the year with the prospect of penalties far above the $95 floor. We expect Obama will waive all penalties for 2014, but this won't help the anti-gun senators who, during the shutdown, were forced to reaffirm their support for every word of the Obamacare. There will be open seats in the West Virginia and South Dakota in which anti-gun Democrats are expected to replace with more pro-gun Republicans. In Montana, the anti-gun governor is going to try to play a slime game with the seat of the Obamacare architect Max Bukis. But we don't expect it will ultimately succeed. Among the other anti-gun senators who could be driven from office are in rough order and vulnerability: Mark Pryor from Arkansas, Mark Begich from Alaska, Mary Landrieu from Louisiana, Kay Hagan, North Carolina, Jean Shaheen, New Hampshire.
Gene Shaheen.
Well, Mary Landrieu's definitely going to be gone.
That'll be good. Mary Udall from Colorado, Al Franken from Minnesota, Jeff Merkley from Oregon, Mark Warner from Virginia, Todd Udall, New Mexico, and 2 open seats in Iowa and Michigan. As the two recall elections in Colorado showed, Obama has awakened a sleeping giant. The Second Amendment community and states previously thought to be blue are hardly blue anymore. This is priority number one for 2014. Pro-gunners must take the Senate away from Harry Reid before the Supreme Court comes up for grabs. And we must do that before a Pelosi-controlled House can rubber stamp Obama gun ban proposals that could outlaw over 50% of existing handguns and gun laws, or long guns.
Wow.
All right, so maybe you're right. Maybe it is, if they lose control,
it is.
then it just reverts right back to what the Constitution, or not the Constitution, but the way it's been set up.
Well, here's how it goes, actually. I'm not positive, but I used to be a history major. But it's like this, that if I go to your ballpark and we're playing baseball in your park, I go by your rules.
Yeah, home rules.
Home rules, right? Exactly. So, but you come to my park, there are just certain guidelines. I mean, it still strikes, 3 strikes you're out. That whole thing.
But it's the whole, if it goes over the fence, you get an extra run, double, that kind of thing.
Under the fence, fan interference, those things. You can't go into the dugout to catch a baseball. You know what I mean? Those ground rules. Some you can lean over and catch. Some you can go into the dugout. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's those fringes. That's where he got it with the filibuster. They set up the rules.
So it's not everlasting. It will go away as soon as that majority is gone there.
No way, man. No. Who's ever a majority, they write the rules of how things are done. That's the way it goes. And Mary Landrieu's definitely going to be gone.
Oh, that'd be good.
And as far as I know, the only other one that's really in serious trouble is Mark Warner in Virginia. I kind of follow this a little bit, not a lot. Now, I don't know that much about Mark Pryor at all. I knew of his name, but that's been it. And Al Franken, everybody knows Al Franken. He's played the gay guy on Saturday Night Live for years. He's really up against it. He's going to have a tough battle to win his. But he is a sitting... he's a sitting senator, so, and when they're sitting, they're hard to get rid of. Sometimes you really get. Look at Harry Reid. He almost lost in 2012. He should have lost. He should have been booted out. He narrowly won in 2012. I mean, narrowly.
It's all that double voting.
It was like 3,000 votes.
Blame Florida.
In a full.
Chad.
Chad. In a full state, 3,000 votes is nothing. Anyway, I just want to throw my name in my 50 cents.
But every vote counts, Jim.
Well, you know what? You know how many votes it was that we speak English instead of German? Did you know this? This is a very serious thing. When they were doing the Declaration of Independence, they decided to have one language. So they put it up for vote. Should it be German or should it be English? You know how many votes it won by?
No.
1.
Every vote counts, buddy.
I'm telling you, do not stop that progress of the machine.
What else we never mind.
Well, nothing wrong with German, but that's why we speak English.
Right.
All right, last notes for the day. Just keep this in mind, all right? The good news is that God and our wonderful members have granted us the strength to score a series of unpredicted victories against unimaginable odds in 2014.
Boom.
Well, Barack Obama and the anti-gun Democrats are up for a re-election and are going to take you for granted in the next 10 months. But if it's important that we use the grace period to protect and expand the Second Amendment rights while the other side is on the run, with God's grace and your help, we will do just that. We want to make sure that everybody has a happy new year and that this year is fulfilling in every way possible so that you can accomplish all your goals that you have set for yourself. Remember, those out there that don't get the full picture, take the time to try to explain them, and if they're willing to listen.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Let's try and make progress this year in this state. We could be the seed that blows out across the whole state and makes a change, makes a difference.
Yep.
It doesn't all have to be in one night. It doesn't have to. It could take all year or up to the point where we're going to vote at least.
Right.
But let's take that time and let's try to create a seed.
Right. I mean, there's so many of us that I know, if you're like Joe or myself, that are very passionate about a lot of this stuff. Instead of just saying your views to some of your friends, maybe tell them why. Maybe try and scoop them onto your side, things like that. Just go the extra mile. That's all it takes. And because this is a big year for us. So, just talk to them. That's great. But also give them the information that they need so they can start making their own decisions. And hopefully, if they're like-minded individuals, they'll make the correct decisions.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Believe it or not, we laugh and we joke that so many people don't have common sense. Mm-hmm. When people and ordinary people are presented with normal situations and with common sense ideas, a lot of times if they are made to understand it, they'll accept it and they'll go with it, and it'll be something that becomes part of their repertoire, and it'll go on in their lifetime, and they'll always bounce back to that.
Yeah,
you can reason with people.
Exactly. What I've found when doing that is a lot of times you'll be going back and forth reasoning with somebody, and all of a sudden you'll see their light bulb kind of go on, like, oh, I never had thought about it in that manner until you said it like that. So all it really takes is just for you to connect with that one person in the right way, and now they're thinking differently.
It's like Jim said, you know what? I don't need 15 rounds. Well, but so what happens when I go to the
when I go to the range,
the shooting range, I shoot all my 15 bullets, and on my way home, I'm robbed.
Yeah, what happens?
Hello,
you get robbed. That's what happens.
Of course, in California, it'd be 10 rounds. So
yeah. You know.
But that's the thought, and that's the way we got to look at things around here. Because if we don't stop to smell the roses are going to wilt away, and we'll never know they were there.
Mm-hmm. We will be smelling cordite.
Unfortunate. Yes, much cordite. Speaking of cordite, I want to talk about something else.
And tannerite.
Tannerite's lots of fun.
Be careful when mixing explosives, but go ahead and do it because it is lots of fun.
Yes, and as far as we know, tannerite is legal in California.
Oh, it's legal. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sent it to us.
That's right.
I mean, not to us, but that other person.
Come down and see us at Tactical Guns and Gear. We'd love to hear from everybody, and thank you for everybody that's joined the show today. And
thanks for everybody for all your help. It really means a lot to us. And let's have a kick butt new year.
Awesome.